Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here at our VDMA TV Pavilion at the K 2016 in Düsseldorf. In our talk at the Pavilion of today, we are talking about the topic Industry 4.0, China 2025. So our entire day already we have this important topic, and in our talk I would like to introduce to you my guests, or in the first case my co-presenter Thorsten Kühlmann of VDMA.
Hello.
Then we have Dr. Reinhard Schiffers, Head of Machine Technology of KraussMaffei Group. Welcome. Then we have Mr. Uwe Thönniss, CEO from Brückner Technology Suzhou. And last but not least, Gero Willlmeroth, President Sales and Services of Engel Machinery Shanghai. Welcome. Talking about China, we can see it here at the K this year. We have an immense number of visitors to this show or to this trade show from Asia. Many of them from China, and I guess for most of the companies presenting their products here, China has become a very important, for some of them, to the most important market they have. How much do you think, Mr. Willlmeroth, how much do you think we are adopted already as a German machine-producing industry to this market? Is it still two worlds, or is it growing together?
I think it's growing together because the trend is changing in China as well, because you see that the market is developing upwards. So that's where we are already. And we see that many customers in China are focusing on higher efficiency, higher productivity, and they are looking for those products. They are driven also by their customers, like automotive industry, medical industry, and others, to produce on that level. And of course, we also adjust to this market, especially if it comes to services, especially if it comes of ways to address those customers. But we see also that trends from Europe, production ways, are now much faster adopted into China. When you have a platform in automotive industry, in the past it took a year or two to transfer this to China. Now we're talking about months, a few months to transfer this, because we have global platforms. And we have to be there.
Talking about the mental condition of people in China, if you look around in China, you see a lot of people with their mobiles, they are on WeChat and whatever. How much are they mentally prepared for Industry 4.0, Mr. Thönniss?
I think there's a kind of, how should I say, natural precondition for those people to deal with new technology, with digital technology. They have no history in other media. They were just thrown in this age of digitalization. And they take it with a kind of very fast, very easy. So sometimes I feel like being a little bit behind.
Mr. Schiffers, if you looking at KraussMaffei, how prepared are you for this process in China, and how do you judge the infrastructure in place?
There's really a big issue talking about that's made in China 2025, because as we heard, they don't have that base that we have in Europe for the last 50 years, for example. They are free of using new technologies, and they start from zero, and they want to step to, let's say, 100% very, very fast. We're talking about from 2 years to times of month, and that is what we also see in China. And you were talking about, for example, digital technologies. They are very open to use it. Data security is not such a problem, not such a talk even, like we have here.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Willlmeroth, looking at your company in China, you have been in China with the production for a longer time now. How fast do you think you can bring your Industry 4.0 products to the market, and what kind of products do you think will work?
China is adopting new technologies very fast, so
yes.
there is no resistance to this. That's why we also immediately transfer new things into China and offer this to the market. Not everything is adopted immediately because there are some restrictions. They need to have people to run this technology. Yes. They need to have the right talents. They need mold technologies, etc. So if you want to be successful in transferring new things into China, you have to take them by the hand and guide them how to use this. But there are also some restrictions there when we talk about digitalization. Everybody's using a mobile phone, everybody's using WeChat and communicating via those technologies. But if it comes to internet speed and reliability, when you transfer data from the machine for service issues, then you have some problems over there because the speed sometimes quite slow and reliability of the connection is not there. So there still needs to be some infrastructure to be done.
Okay, talking about Mr. Thönniss, talking about not only the infrastructure of the net, but also the infrastructure of education. How prepared are people education-wise for this next step?
I think this is a big challenge in China because to get the right talents, to get the right qualification is more and more difficult. It's getting more and more expensive. And every week I get invitations to round circles discussion called the war for the talent or how to recruit the right people. This is a big topic in China. We see actually that still the public schools do not supply enough good qualified people. Education is still a matter of money. And we also have to see the demographic situation. There is a statistic number which is called labor force, which is actually everybody between 15 and 59. And with the two-child politics, China thinks that in 2050 they will have about 700 million people, 30 million more than without the two-child politic. That sounds a lot, but you have to know that this number peaked in 2012 with 940 million. And since that time, it's continuously decreasing, which means in a period of one working generation, China is losing, I counted it, 5.5 times all the jobs in Germany. And this is unbelievable. And a lot of know-how, a lot of knowledge will go away with this big decrease.
Mr. Schiffers, if I hear those facts, I mean, still a little bit of improvement going ahead with skilled people, the infrastructure still not 100% ready for Industry 4.0. How much do you have to push this topic into the market, or how much demand is there actually in the market?
Actually, I see even more demand in China than we have today here in Europe or in, let's say, highly skilled areas, because they have the vision. They are losing people. The level of the people is still going down, and actually it's more or less the same we have here. The people have to be, let's say, supported when using our machines. The machines are very complex, connected to each other, and you have a very complex production in the end. And people have to be, in the end, supported by our machines, by our systems, in order to let's say, use these machines in an efficient way. And that is one of the goals that we, let's say, reflect into the KraussMaffei group, in order that we will have to provide more in China than maybe in Europe, this support to our customers. And that's why we divided this into, let's say, 3 fields. We have the intelligent machine, which is one machine, but we also need integrated production, and also we were talking about remote service. Despite the lower line speed, we will have to offer that, and we have to, we call it interactive service. That is the future, and I see the demand more in China than here.
You are representing big companies in this industry with plants, with factories in China. Do you think, from today's point of view, that it's a prerequisite to have a running production in China in order to be successful in this market? Because some of the European manufacturers, or even German or Austrian manufacturers, do still hesitate whether they want to invest their money in a factory there. What do you think? Is it a prerequisite? Can you only be successful with the production plant in this country? Mr. Thönniss?
China is the second biggest economy in the world. You would never ask these questions for the USA. And many people in the 50s, 60s, many companies in the 50s, 60s created companies in Brazil. What is Brazil today? So I think an investment in China is necessary. Also from the mentality of our Chinese customer, they want to see commitment, they want to see presence. They want to see that you are there, that you are contributing to their society. That's very important for business success.
Mr. Willlmeroth, your opinion?
I fully agree, because the commitment is a very important factor. On the other hand, it's also important. A lot of decisions are meanwhile made in China, not only for China.
Right.
We have customers from China going overseas to USA, Mexico, other countries, and they use us as a production base. They even force us to deliver to those countries, even though we have the production in Austria, which is normally serving those countries. Because they are used to us. For them, it's much easier to talk to us. We're around the corner. We speak the same language. So for us, it's a clear yes. It is a prerequisite in the long term and mid-term to be successful.
How important is then the R&D activity in China? Because production of machines is one thing. The other thing is adapting it to the people's mindset. As we talked before, the Chinese have a different mindset and a different toolbox. They are adapted and accustomed to use those mobile devices, for example, social media, much higher degree as we do have here. But how about the adaptation of these machines to this market? Do you have different R&D activities in China than here?
Actually not. So there's the R&D department within China that is for sure much more smaller than we have in this case in injection molding in Munich. And they mainly do the adaptation work for the machines for the local market. In the end, the customer will need or will buy our machines in order to produce high quality products. They buy our machines because they can do something they can't do with their, let's say, competitors in China. And that's why I think it's very crucial to keep, let's say, the knowledge in the company in one point, and then spread it to the other production plants and the, let's say, application plants.
Will that change in the future? The more important China gets, maybe in 2025, will that be different? That we have a complete autonomous R&D department in China?
Well, I can imagine that at least we will have, let's say, a kind of branch, R&D branch in China. We still believe that main decisions have to be done in our headquarters. But on the other side, to customize products, to make them even more suitable for local requirements, I think this somehow requires the local input. And therefore, I think, yes, partially we have to establish this kind of R&D. Sometimes, for example, it's a good example just crossing my mind, very often when customers around the world is asking for some professional support in their process development, we try to mediate somebody from China, from our customers or from the market. So that really shows how much knowledge has accumulated in this country.
Mr. Willlmeroth, let's talk about China 2025. That's a buzzword in China now. Could you explain a little bit what China 2025 is about? Is it only the adaptation of Industry 4.0 or is it even more?
No, I think it's not only related to Industry 4.0. It's a general concept that the whole economy in China is shifting. In the beginning, China attracted a lot of foreign companies. They bring in the technology, they bring in the money, and China is contributing basically the land and the people. With this, they build up the economy to quite a high level meanwhile. But the next step is that you generate more in China itself, and that you have more development of products in China, and that you strengthen the domestic market. And you also see that a lot of Chinese companies are investing now overseas, buying international companies. So they are not focusing onto the domestic market alone. They're also talking about the global market meanwhile. And this will definitely change the economy. I mean, also what you already mentioned, the shifts in the demography in China. And we will see a different industry there with more added values generated in China and staying in China. And at the same time, the level of machine equipment, production ways will definitely rise in China because they have to change it. In the beginning, I always joke like automation. the robot is not necessary because the robot has 2 legs, and if the robot is lazy, you take a new one. But you don't have those workers anymore, and the labor cost will kill you. So there must be changes in the industry.
One point you mentioned relates to buying machine manufacturers overseas. One example, Dr. Schiffers, is KraussMaffei, which had been born by ChemChina. How do you see, with regard to Industry 4.0, how do you see this process? Is there any strategic approach towards KraussMaffei to do something?
For sure, that is the case in this time. If we are talking about China 2025, there's a real long-term strategy behind that, and with the, let's say, acquisition of the KraussMaffei Group by a Chinese company, ChemChina, they really wanted to, let's say, use what they call, really, our chairman Ren told us he wants to induce the Industry 4.0 gene into ChemChina. And that is what they really want to utilize. They want to have these technology. We were talking about the products rising up to a higher quality level, and they need the high quality and high technology with Western machines, and that's how they acquire it. And
let me add one question. What do you learn from ChemChina in this regard? Is there any return for you?
For sure. So people in Munich and all over the KraussMaffei Group are very happy with ChemChina as a new owner. And special KraussMaffei history, we are coming from, let's say, a private equity-owned basis. And so far right now, let's tell it, our strategic timeline expanded already for many, many years. And that is a very nice thing to do. And talking about the market, China is regarding plastics machinery, the biggest market in the world, and ChemChina especially will or might be opening some doors within the market and give us a chance to bring our technology to help these people in the markets to rise up their products.
When talking about doing business in China, we must talk about intellectual property, because that is not only dealt with in the media. I think everybody who is going to China has had these concerns, whether the intellectual property, whether our know-how and the experience in product, in R&D and so on will stay in the company. You have the experience because you are in this country and you are working for your companies in these countries. How big is the risk really from your point of view to lose intellectual property? And maybe a second question, will Industry 4.0 enforce this risk? Mr. Willlmeroth?
I mean, you have to make a basic decision. If you want to be a player in this market, you have to go there. Right. And if you stay behind and you don't offer your solutions to this market, you are in a way safe, but you don't make any business. So, of course, you put some measures in place to protect whatever you can by, for example, not giving complete units and drawings to a supplier, so you only take certain components so they don't know the whole function of it, and a couple of other things you can do there. For the Industry 4.0, we have to talk also about the data generated by Industry 4.0 technologies and what to do, where to store those data, who is the owner of those data, who will process those data, who will pay for the processing, and how to make sure that those data are not lost to somewhere. But in China, I think the awareness of this is not so big. I mean, there are a couple of examples. I'm also wearing the Xiaomi, which is like a fitness tracker, and you can track your sleep. I'm sure that Mr. Xi Jinping knows exactly where I am, thanks to my mobile phone. And there are a couple of other things, like they also produce like an air cleaner, and this can be controlled by an app because it has a Wi-Fi module in, beautifully built, fantastic thing. And then I installed the app, and then I saw what rights they want to have. And I was wondering, why does the air cleaner need to have rights to access my camera on the mobile phone, to all my contacts and so on? I'm sure I'm one of the few who deleted this app because the button is good enough to control this thing. So most people, I think, they are not aware of the risk losing all this data. And I think that will be a big issue in the future when data, maybe we have to meet in the cloud for processing some data, when data gets lost there.
And when talking about personal or privacy data, that is already serious. But when talking about a company
data.
investment with, in some cases, billions of dollars of investment, this has to be controlled and be handled carefully. How do you judge this safety and security thing as far as big data in China is concerned?
We have seen the first big investment boom for our technology in 95, 96. And at that time we sold about 3 dozen of production lines to China. And we had to make the decision whether to use our standard, our world standard or not. And we decided for the world standard. And also in all later investment booms we sold exactly the machine which were state of the art at that time. And I think we made the right decision. Of course our machines were copied. But we have not really seen any local competitor who sustainably could develop on this platform. Because as many companies here on this show, we are constantly developing further. And you see many small companies who simply don't have the power, not the resources, to fix problems, to make it right, when in the first attempt it does not work. Here I believe that in our culture we are still a big step ahead. So I would say, yes, go with the latest technology to China, bring it to the Chinese customer, they will reward it to you, definitely, and you will make the next step and they will follow you.
I think that for German or for European companies going to China, it is always a decision between risk and chance. Do you think that Industry 4.0 increases the chance side of the coin?
Yes, I think so, yeah. In the future, we were talking about drawings and mechanical parts and so on. I think in the future we will be talking about software, and in regards to, let's say, intelligence or algorithms that we develop, and that is one of the step we have to be ahead. We have to assure that this will stay in our business, but this will definitely help us at the market there.
There are different trends in this market. We have Industry 4.0. You can see that all around here on the K 2016 for sure. The USA has Internet of Things. There are other similar programs in different markets. You can compare that quite well because you have internationally structured companies. How far are we with Industry 4.0? Are we ahead of the bench, or do you think we are a fast follower, Mr. Willlmeroth?
I think we are ahead of the crowd because the whole thing basically started here, and I think a lot of companies grabbed the chance. The only thing what we have to define is what is this Industry 4.0. Especially when we talk about China, when you talk to people, everybody talks about it because it's a buzzword as well. But the question is, what do they mean by this? We saw it. China Plus, one of our Chinese competitors, had a big advertisement there. They have an Industry 4.0 interface on their machine. So I was deeply impressed. So you are future safe with this machine. The only question is, where do you plug it in? And just recently we got from a customer an inquiry for a turnkey solution, Industry 4.0. So you have to ask the question, what do you mean by this? We can offer you the products we have and supporting you in this, but what is your understanding of Industry 4.0? And I think a lot of companies still answer this question in the very traditional ways. Increasing or making the controls more efficient, just doing a little bit productivity increase, or doing automation on the machine. But that's not 4.0, that's a little part of it.
Mr. Thönniss, what's your experience?
From all the spectrum which is offered by Industry 4.0, I think what we have picked is, we have, let's say, a topic for that which we call intelligent line management. And intelligent line management is exactly taking into account that it will be more and more difficult to find qualified people to operate those machines. So in our machine, we probably have about 3,000 machine parameters which are influencing the process. We will reduce it to less than 50 process parameters. And these process parameters, they directly refer to the desired film quality. So between the data and the final result, there are smart algorithms which are always improved, which finally give the operator the right result. He is focusing on the final product. He does not care about machine settings. And this is a tendency which we think will be well accepted in the Chinese market.
Will this lead to a new business concept as well?
Definitely, definitely, because you do not sell anymore by detailed machine features. You sell about the production capability of excellent film quality, over the year, efficiency, that are the parameters you are selling, but not with machine details anymore.
Additional question, or Mr. Schiffers, what would you like to add?
I just want to add, so Industry 4.0 is mainly about efficiency regarding products, regarding raw materials, energy, and so on. And this efficiency will be gained by, let's say, collecting data and processing data. And that's exactly what you meant. So we will have to offer the algorithms, the knowledge that will reduce the data that is at the machine in order to keep the machines running or running at high quality level. That will definitely lead to future, let's say, new business cases and new opportunities in the market.
How do you, I mean, if you want to make this to a business concept, this will only work, of course, if it's to the benefit of the customer. Now, in first place, you say, okay, listen, guys, I want to have more money for what I have to offer. What do you in return? What's the return for what's the benefit for the customer?
Just to give you an example, if you can offer your customer with some, let's say, algorithms, you pick out the machine that in the next case needs some attendance. So which machine the operator has to go to first? Where is the correct screw to fix the process? We have a big knowledge of the machine and in most cases also the process. And for big companies, I think they will do that on their own. For smaller companies, they don't have that knowledge of the machine and the process and so on. They might buy it at our house.
Okay.
You know what? I'm curious about what we will talk about when we meet again in 2025. That's the motto of our talk today. Let's say we meet again here on this stage in 2025 and talk about China. Will there be ahead as far as Industry 4.0 is concerned, or will we still be in the lead? Mr. Willlmeroth, a short reply from you.
Good question. I mean, there are some years to go. I'm still confident that we will be ahead here in Europe. But at the same time, the productivity and efficiency in China will be at a much higher level because the machines are more intelligent. The machines take a lot of jobs from the operator. And Mr. Thönniss already mentioned the education system, which does not generate the kind of level of operator what we are used to here in Europe. So with those concepts, we can help to upgrade production there and make it easier for the operators to get faster to a higher level. So I think it will be probably a bit closer if you talk about production, but from the development point of view, I'm still quite confident that the European companies will lead as a supplier of machinery.
Thank you for that. That's great. So, thank you very much, gentlemen. That was a good experience talking to you about this important market, China 2025. Thanks a lot for being here at our TV pavilion of the VDMA. Thank you for watching, and thank you for watching too. We will meet again, if you like, tomorrow here at our program at the heart of the K 2016. Bye.